Hello, everybody. My name is Shikabane. I am a card designer with the Arakai TCG, and I'm here presenting my first deck profile on the channel. I decided that since I have my screen recorder working, I would actually start documenting a bit more of my decks as I go through, my mindset of things for backlog, and upload them for anyone who cares to see them to understand some thought processes. So this deck here is Beast Down. It's due to its name due to the higher quantity of beast allies in the deck. This is a primal focused deck. We have a bit of Haven cards in it. For those of you who do not play Arakai, I will try to explain a little bit as we go. I will be doing a full how to play the game breakdown, but I will try to explain just some general mechanics. So, starting off the deck profile, you have Phantom Horn, the Mindless Rampager. This is your boss monster of the deck. He is a level 5 with 4 drawback. In Arakai, you have Spirit. You put cards into your Spirit every turn. 1 card per turn, you start with 2. So when you have 5 Spirit, you can play this guy, and if he's destroyed in battle, you take 4 drop. So why is he the centerpiece of the deck? Why is he the level 5 that you play in this deck? Well, the reason is because he's big. That's why you play him. He's big. This is not a very good deck profile to show this, but 40,000 attack is not the norm. That is the highest attack power of any card in the game as of set 1. That is by far and away the highest attack value. The only thing that comes close is like there's a Haven ally that has over 30k, but typically 30,000 attack is reserved for the level 5 vanilla of a nation. There's a Primal vanilla that has 30,000. Phantom Horn has 40, meaning he's very hard to run over unless you have removal. As a result, he is the boss monster you play. So why do you only play one of them? Well, because you really only need one. He kind of breaks in multiples, and you really only want to see him at certain times. You don't really want to draw him in your opening hand. You just kind of want to see him sometimes, but your deck can do things without him. He's just a big 40,000 attack chungus, but he has the drawback of he can't support, which in Arakai, that means that if you attack with an ally, you could support by also attacking with a different ally at the same time, essentially, and adding that power to it. So if I were to attack with this guy, I could not support with the Rampager to add 40,000 power to this guy. So that's the TLDR of that. And of course, at the end of the turn, if this card did not attack, it dies. So it has to attack every turn. If for some reason it doesn't, it blows itself up. But that's not all. Whenever it attacks, the attack target is chosen at random. It does not matter if the targets are lethal or not. In Arakai, there's 2 positions, engaged and restrained. If an ally is engaged, meaning it's face up, it is blocking your life points. Or if it's, in Magic terms, tapped, or it's sideways, restrained as we call it, you could go past that to attack a player directly. This guy does not care about that. It does not care about whether you're engaged or restrained. He is going to pick a target at random. If you have 3 allies, you're going to roll a d4 with a number assigned to each ally, and then 4th being their face. Which might sound bad, but in practice this is actually really good. Because he's so large, he's just a very hard thing to get rid of, especially if you have board of other guys. So Phantom Horn, the Mindless Rampager, being just huge, and the fact that he can attack whenever he wants, is really nice. So yeah, he's the boss monster of the deck. And as we'll see later down the line, there is a card that just straight up negates it. That card is the next card I'm going to talk about in this, but I think it's very relevant. Bond between Master and Beast, or Bond between Beast and Master, my apologies, is an aura spell, which means it remains on the field after you cast it. Unlike allies, you do not have to tap any spirit to play spells. You just have to cast the spell, so long as you have the right nation in your spirit. So most of my deck is Primal. This is a Primal spell. I will have a Primal card in my spirit. Once per turn, if I control any Shaman ally, I target any Beast ally I control, it loses its effects until the end of the turn. So if I control like a Shaman here, like this guy, I can use this aura to turn off the Phantom Horn's effect, and then all of a sudden the Phantom Horn, he can support, he can attack whatever he wants, and he doesn't die if he doesn't attack. You can just leave him engaged if you want. You don't do that, but you could. And that is kind of the gimmick of Beast Down. You want to use your Shaman allies to negate your big fuck-off Beast guys, so you just have big numbers. That's the gimmick of Beast, is that they're big. Speaking of which, we have Impeding Behemoth, level 4 with 3 drawback with 30 10,000 power. That is the most power on any level 4 in the entire game of set 1. However, he has the drawback of he must attack each turn if able, and he cannot support, and also can't attack unless you restrain another ally you control. Remember when I talked about restraining your allies? Tapping them for you Magic players? Same deal. I have to tap a different ally, restrain a different ally for him to attack. But if you negate his effects with Bond between Beast and Master, you don't care about that. He's just a big guy. He's really good for your early game because you invoke him, and then a level 0, which costs, no restrain. You can make it so your opponent just has to answer this big fuck-off guy, and that could be very hard early on. Until you just have this giant level 4 staring you down. Very good. If you can ramp these level 4s or these big guys, you can get yourself into a really good tempo position and just beat the crap out of them. The next 2 cards go hand in hand. It's Relentless Tusker and Pat Behemoth. Why do these go hand in hand? So Pat Behemoth is a level 4 with 2 drawback and 19k. Very weak. I know what you're thinking. Weren't we just talking about all these big chunguses? We were talking about this 30k. Well, what's this guy after? Well, whenever he wins a battle, you expend a spirit, which is basically where you take a card in your spirit and you flip it face down. That spirit needs a card effect to be unexpended. You use your spirit as a secondary resource that way. So when it wins a battle, you expend a spirit, target a level 4 or lower ally in your spirit, a primal ally, put this into your spirit, face down, restrained, and invoke that target, ignoring its cost. It can't attack directly, and it gets shuffled into the deck at the end of the turn. That might sound bad on paper, but this is actually really strong. The reason you play this die is because he lets you get an additional attack. Sure, you can't attack directly with whatever you summon off him, but you can attack other allies. So you use Pat Behemoth, beat over a little guy, then you expend a spirit, put the Pat Behemoth into your spirit, and then invoke whatever you're going to target, which leads into Relentless Tusker. During the turn he was invoked from the spirit, it can't be returned to the deck. So remember that condition at the end of Pat Behemoth, where it has to be shuffled back into the deck at the end of the turn? This die ignores that, so that's already really huge. And during the turn it was invoked from the spirit, any drawback damage dealt to your opponent becomes the level of the opponent's ally. Meaning, if he destroys a level 4 ally, you're not dealing that 3 drawback damage like you normally would. You're dealing their level. You're dealing 4 damage. This is very strong. Remember what I said about attacking other allies with Pat? Now you're kind of seeing the momentum. You do a Pat Behemoth into a Tusker, you kill it. That's a really powerful combo. You do a lot of damage. But why only 1 Tusker? It's bricky. You don't want to see this all the time. This card is very bad unless you have Pat Behemoth. That's the main reason you want to summon it. You can summon it off of the next card we're going to get into. That usually doesn't happen. I find 1 Tusker, you see it just enough that it matters. I've never really had a problem with this. I tried playing it at 2. I ended up breaking at it. I think 1 Tusker is fine. Have it. It's an option. You resolve it once. It's good. And Pat Behemoth, as we'll come to find out, has other utility besides this card, which we'll get into. Grand Summoner. Level 3, 1 drawback, 18k Shaman. This is not a beast ally. This is actually the first ally we've talked about that isn't a beast ally. This guy is the best level 3 in all of Primal. So he has an invoke cost of expending a spirit. Remember expending spirit? Remember that? Remember that from our old friend Pat Behemoth? So you expend a spirit to play him. And when he's invoked, you target a face-up level 4 or lower Primal ally for your spirit. As long as it's face-up, aka you don't expend it, you can normal invoke it from your spirit restrained by placing the top card of your deck into your spirit restrained. What does that mean? That's a long text. I don't understand that. What it means is if you play Grand Summoner and target, say, a Pat Behemoth, so long as we don't expend that Pat Behemoth for a card effect, on a later turn, we could tap for spirit to invoke that Pat Behemoth from our spirit. We can invoke it as if it was in our hand. This is what Grand Summoner does. He says, see that guy in my spirit? That guy's basically in my hand when I say it. That's what he does. That's why he's so powerful. 18k is also very good on level 3, which, by the way, is the exact stat line of the next level 3, Enhanced Seraph Melina. This is a different card. This is yellow. What is this yellow card doing here? Well, for those of you who don't play Arakai, which I'm assuming some of you will, basically, this is a different nature. Up until now, you've only been seeing these green cards. Those are Primal allies. This is a Haven ally. Yellow. Yellow is Haven. Green is Primal. Got that? Simple enough. Now, why does that matter? What is nations? Well, it goes back to something I was talking about earlier. In Arakai, the cards in your spirit dictate what you can play. Not just in terms of I have to restrain 3 spirit to play Grand Summoner, but I need to restrain 3 spirit and have a Primal ally in my spirit to play Grand Summoner. We are playing a 12-card Haven engine for our deck, for reasons I will get into at the very end. So, to play Melina, I need to have another Haven card in my spirit. Now, 12 might not sound like a lot, but in the game of Arakai, where we have 50-card decks and we draw 6 cards for turn, 6 cards for our hand rather, and draw 2 cards every turn, 1 for our normal draw phase and 1 for our spirit phase, it's not hard at all to see a Haven ally for this. So you're going to summon it more often than not. But that's enough talking about mechanics. What does this card actually do? Well, much like Grand Summoner, it has to expend a spirit to play it. That kind of sucks. And unlike Grand Summoner, it has 2 drawbacks. Why is that? So Enhanced Seraph Melina is considered by many to be the best level 3 in Set 1 Arakai, because whenever it attacks, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck and can add a spell from among those cards to your hand, then shuffle the rest back into your deck. This is insanely powerful. Now, I'm not playing that many spells, but I'm certainly playing enough that I'm going to hit this card very often. This card is really good. If it survives a turn, you can do it again. I've had games where I've used the same Melina to get like 3 or 4 cards off the top of my deck. It's actually insane. The amount of blessing you get off this card is really good. If you're playing a Haven deck, or even just splashing some Haven cards into your deck, this is almost always one of the cards you put in, because it's that strong. Moving on to the Beast. The Beasts are back. What is Reckless Impaler? He is a 3/2 with 25k. That's massive. What are these little wimpy 18k level 3s? This guy's 25. Big beast. For reference, 25k is the average stat line of the vanilla level 4s. So level 3 with that has to have some kind of drawback, and it does. First of all, it has to attack every turn, and it's minus 5k power during your opponent's turn, meaning on their turn, it's just 20k. This is for balancing purposes, because turn 1, just playing a 25k guy has been problematic in the past. We used to have a Haven card that you could just play it and had 25k on level 3, and it was completely broken. Also, whenever it attacks, you have to discard a hand card. This could be a good thing, and there are some decks later on in the game that I really like this effect for that discard, but it's not good in Primal because we don't really have any reason to use it. Primal doesn't interact with the graveyard. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be the lost area, as we call it. It doesn't matter. However, if you negate the effects with Bond, it's just a big turn disc. However, remember, it only negates till the end of the turn. You cannot negate that minus 5k on the opponent's turn. Sorry, you're going to have a 20k body on the opponent's turn. Sucks to suck. Now for the smallest level 3 in our pool, we have this guy, Bladed Savage, another beast, but this beast isn't huge. Well, why isn't he huge? He's a beast ally. These beasts have been big. That says he's a really good card. This guy's a 3/2 with 17k, which means he's going to lose to 18k monsters like Melina or Grand Summoner. However, whenever it attacks, you can expend 1 spirit to reduce its power by 9,000 and give it -2 level. What does this mean? It means you attack with your 17k Bladed Savage, expend a spirit, its power goes to 8k and goes down to a level 1, and you re-engage it. This is very powerful for giving you an extra ally to support with. You can use that level 8 Bladed Savage to support to get over a bigger guy, or you can leave it engaged as a blocker. This comes up a lot in my matches where I'll just expend to re-engage him and just leave him up and let his stat line return to normal to have a level 3 blocker. Removal for level 3s, especially engaged level 3s, is not very common in the game in Set 1. So you're going to get your mileage out of this guy. So why only 2 would be so good? Space. This deck is very consistent, and you're going to go through your deck very quickly, as we'll get into later. You just don't have the space to really play everything. You kind of have to do some ratio. Which leads us to our final level 3, Kazujikura. A 3/1 Shaman with 18k. At the start of your attack phase, expend 1 spirit until the end of your turn. Other Primal allies get +1 level and lose their effects. Now hold on. I know that sounds crazy. We've been talking about all this Bond shenanigans for like Impaler, Behemoth, and Rampager. Why aren't I playing this at 3? This is a card that only works in the late. You want to get in a position where you stick one of these guys. Remember, you're limited by your spirit in this game. I can't just drop a bunch of allies in one turn unless I have the spirit. If I want to play a Behemoth and a Khazaditra, I need 7 Spirit. That's a lot. So really, this guy doesn't do anything until you've either stuck a level 4 through some blocker shenanigans, or you're in the way late game. He's a good card, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to see him in my opening hand. He's a one of, draw him late, you'll have the hand cards. That's all the big guys. We are out of the big guys. We're on to the little ones. And it's our only level 2. Only one level 2, and it's this guy, Disturbed Grazer. So, first of all, it can't be returned to the deck during the turn it was invoked. But what does that mean? Well, if you remember here, Pat Behemoth said he has to shuffle a guy back. Well, that's pretty darn good, right? Yes, it is. It is very good that he can't be shuffled back in the deck, which gives you another target for Pat Behemoth. I told you there'd be more applications for this card than just Tuscan. Didn't me out. Did I mention that Impeding Behemoth also can't be returned to deck during this time? See, you have lots of allies that ignore that Pat Behemoth restriction, that have the Shaman Protection, quote-unquote, as I've prone to nickname it. Also, whenever he's invoked, just in any way, shuffle a Primal Spirit card back into the deck, place top card of your deck in your Spirit. Why is that relevant? It lets a face-up Primal card. You can get rid of an engaged Primal card. This is the only card in my deck that does anything that involves punish spending your Spirit. To play this deck, you have to really manage your Spirit in terms of you can't go too heavy. If you go too heavy, you're going to run out of spend, you won't be able to play your card. So you got to make sure you balance that, and this card's a good way to balance that. Plus, 14 mana level 2 is very good stat line, that beats over a lot of level. On to level 1s. Meditating Trainee. This is a 1-0 Shaman with 9,000. That is very good stats for level 1. For those of you who don't play Arakai or are new to the game, 109 is ideal level 1 stats for set 1. You want all of your level 1s to have this stat line if you can. But usually the ones with good effects don't have it, because, well, you gotta balance stats versus effects. Although, Trainee's pretty fucking good. When he's invoked, you shuffle a face-up card from your Spirit into your deck, face up, remember that so it doesn't unexpend, draw a card, then place a hand card into your Spirit Restraint. Important note with this, you typically want to restrain whatever you're going to shuffle back to summon him, because you want to invoke the Trainee, then shuffle that restrained card back, because the card you put in goes in restrained. You have to remember that. So you don't want to accidentally get 2 restrained Spirit off of invoking level 1. That's bad. Watch what you shuffle back. But he's good cycling. He gets cards out of your Spirit that you don't want there. So remember, you're drawing a card every turn, and you're spiriting a card every turn. So you draw a card, draw a second card, spirit a hand card. So you might not always want to spirit something at that time. So this gives you a way to get those cards out of there, put them back in your deck. Next up, we have Yilof Explorer, or as I like to call him, Let's Go Gambling, the level 1. Why do I call him Let's Go Gambling? Because his entire effect is a gamba. So he's a 1/0/8 Shaman. When invoked, look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Reveal 1 ally from among those cards, shuffle the rest back into the deck, and place that ally on top of your deck. Or, if a card in your Spirit has the same name, expend a Spirit, add it to your hand instead. That's pretty competitive. It's complete gamba. It doesn't always work, but he has the potential to go +1. We like +1s in the sentence. Big deal with me, I like cards that say get other cards. I like plussing. It's my thing. Speaking of plussing, we have this card, 1 copy of Illidan Jura's Attendant, which, when invoked from your Spirit, draw a card. Pat Behemoth, Grand Summoner. That's how you trigger this. And it cannot be returned to the deck. Remember what I said about this Pat Behemoth. That restriction doesn't matter so long as you regulate what you're summoning. Why only 1 of it then? Sounds really good, right? You draw a card. It only triggers when invoked from Spirit. You really only need to resolve her 1 time. Most of the time you have other things you want to summon off these. It's just a nice card to have. So if you draw it, Spirit it, great, get your value. You don't need more than 1. I think 1 is fine. And our final ally is this little cutie from the Haven cards, Fluttering Cupid, a 0 level, 0 drawback with 5,000. What does 0 level mean? It means you don't restrain shit for it. All these other allies, you have to restrain Spirit equal to their level to play them, not the level 0s. Level 0s, you restrain 0 Spirit. You can just play them at any time. However, it has no effect. It's just simply a vanilla monster. And those of you who play Yu-Gi-Oh, you know what a vanilla monster is. It's a vanilla monster. It's used for tempo purposes, for your level 4 plays, or even your level 3 plays. 3-1 and a 0, it can be a tough board deck, especially that 0 is engaged. So good thing to keep in mind. That's all I'm on. We're onto our spells. War of the Beast. Expend 1 spirit, an ally you control, and a restrained ally your opponent controls. Restrained. Can't target one that's engaged. So if it's always, aka not tapped for you Magic players, you can't target it. It has to be restrained or tapped. Expend a spirit, target an ally you control, restrained ally your opponent controls. Destroy their ally if it has lower power than the first target. How big are all of our beasts? Oh yeah, some of the biggest stat lines in the game. 40k, 30k, 25k. You're going to be able to do stuff. Use it to kill their weenies. Use it to kill their things you don't want to kill this turn. Keep your tempo pushing. Use it to kill their big guys if you want. It's all up to you. You play 3 of this. Spend 1, it's very good value. We already talked about bond between beast and master. Target guy, negate it. Really good. Play 3, don't question it. I think one more controversial choice is Unresting Spirit of the Beast. This card has seen very little play in set, and I completely get why. Because this card on paper seems really fucking bad. So it's a swift spell, which basically for Magic players out there, it means it's an instant. You can cast it outside your main phase at any time. Expend 1 spirit and target a battling ally you control. So an ally that's fighting, it gets 8,000 power during this battle only, and after that battle, it's shuffled into deck. I know what you're thinking. Wow, you just went -2. That's so terrible. You just lost your ally and the spell. What a dog shit card. No, shut up. Shut up. 8,000 power on a Swift is very big. That is a lot. And keep in mind, a lot of our allies are already fucking huge. And the fact that our ally goes back to the deck means we could potentially target a dude, win the battle, deal damage to them, and then our ally goes back into the deck, meaning we don't take that drawback damage. It also can be used to free up blockers. If you have a useless level 1 and you want to play a big guy, drop the Unresting on it. I've used this exact thing against one of my friends to be able to get myself a better ally on the board after attacking to have a good blocker in that game. This card is very unassuming, but when it works, it works. Only 2 though, because it breaks at 3. Speaking of breaking at 3, we have Pulling the Path. Simple card, reveal 3 beast allies with different names for your deck, add 1 to your hand. It's randomly added by the opponent, so basically they roll a die. It's very good. So you reveal like your Grazer, your Behemoth, your Tusker, Pack, Phantom Horn, whatever. Reveal 3 with different names. They pick 1 to go to your hand. It's a good card, but it breaks at 3. Just play 2. Fine. I've never wanted the 3rd. Final Primal card, Prideful Howl. It's another aura, so it remains on the field. And once per turn, you target an ally you control, it gets 4,000 till the end of the turn. Why is that good? Your guys are already huge, right? True, but our level 1s aren't. Sometimes you need to kill those pesky level 1s that are just in the way, and your level 1s are very small. Look at how small they are. Also, this was Savage. Your 17k blades comes with 21k bladed Savage. And that 8,000 attack restand? No. That's now a 12,000 attack restand. You're big bladed Savage. This card is very versatile and lets you clear a lot of things on a lot of boards that you wouldn't be able to do. But again, it breaks at 3. Play 2. I've never wanted the 3rd one. You see it often. Finally, we have Perfect Defense and Last Second Interception. Why am I talking about these together? Because for those of you who do not play Arakai or who are new to Arakai, these 2 cards are kind of the holy grail of the Haven deck. These are the 3 and 3 that you put in. You're playing Haven. If you're crushing Haven, you're playing 3 of each of these. I don't care what you're doing. If you're not, you're probably playing your deck wrong. So, Perfect Defense. If you're being attacked directly, so your pace, spend 1 spirit, nullify the attack, draw a card. It's a 1-for-1. Negates that attack. Very powerful. There is a card in set 1 called Post Field that also negates the attack, but it doesn't draw a card. It's a -1. This isn't a -1. It does expend, and Post Field doesn't, but this isn't a -1. And you know me, I don't like -1s. -1s are bad. I want to go plus. I love my tempo. I love my drawing cards. Speaking of tempo, Last Second Interception. This card's a little confusing. I'll admit, for a new player, this might be a little confusing. It is during an attack on your opponent's turn. This is another Swift. So it's an instant for you Magic players. Expend 1 spirit, target a restrained ally you control. A tapped ally you control. Engage it, so you stand it. You untap it. Redirect the target to it. the attachment. So I'm going to do this one more time. Let's say I have a Grand Summoner and a Meditating Trainee on the field, both tapped, both restrained. My opponent attacks me with their Melina. They're going to kill my Meditating Trainee. Not so fast. I use my last second interception to redirect your attack with the Grand Summoner. Our monsters now have equal power and will kill each other. That's just one application. This works really well with your big fuck-off beasts who are probably restrained. Because again, they probably can't kill these things a lot of the time. Last second interception is very game swing, very tempo driven, and is one of the best cards. When you combine it with the big fuck-off stats of your beast allies, you're able to do some really nice things. And also, to protect those beasts. Maybe you want to redirect attacks to your weenies that they're just ignoring because you want to keep your big bodies in the field for their turn. After all, you don't have to retap Spirit Bro guys you already have out. They're just there. If you can do that, you'll be in a game-winning position. So as a quick review, you play big fuck-off beast allies that are able to swarm the field and do extra attacks. You rely on your stats and your aggression to beat down the opponent and secure yourself an early tempo lead. You play lots of shamans to trigger your bond between beast and master, and also to generate you card economy. You're playing a level 0 and a level 3 from Haven to not only give you more Haven cards, but to give you more consistency and to give you some nice blockers and utility for your impeding behemoth. You're playing an Aura that negates your beast so long as you control a shaman. And you're playing combat tricks and stat buffs to help clear boards you wouldn't be able to do, and defensive utility like performance and last perception, and removal in the form of Aura of the Beast. All of this together rounds off to create one of my most enjoyed decks I've played of Set 1. I've played a lot of Set 1, I've played a lot of Primal. Primal is my favorite nation. I am the Primal guy. I love this deck. I think it's super fun. Is it the best deck in Primal? No. I will be doing a Shaman deck profile later on that's similar to this, but with fundamental differences. Stay tuned for that deck profile. I hope you enjoyed this. For those of you who are interested in learning Arakai, we have a Discord server, and we are always looking for new members to try out the game. We use untapped.in, and I am Shikabane on Untapped, so feel free to hit me up on there if you would like to get connected with me and learn more about this wonderful card game that I'm helping design. Again, that is the Arakai TCG. This has been Shikabane.